Waterfall. We got some kind of a yellow bird in my waterfalls here. You don't know what kind of bird that is? I mean, I don't know. It looks like a finch or something.
Yeah, except for the coloring for around here.
I mean, it's not a house pet kind of thing. He's a real, like a real, look at this. He's having a ball. Hey. Oh, God, I got to show this to Karen. She won't believe it. Soap? Towels? Paper towels? Anybody?
No bounty. These all.
In all the years we've had the pond, I've never seen a bird like that. This is the first one. He's really having a ball. I don't believe this. Oh, yeah.
What's cute is the fish are underneath watching them. See the goldfish underneath him?
Yeah, yeah. Look at this guy go. I don't believe it. Sure, Wendy, sure. You feed the fish, but do you feed the birds?
Maybe they're all yellow. He's the only one that's cleaning up.
This is great, Jimmy. I can't believe this. God, I hope he sticks around till Karen gets home. Yeah, we know. You want to dry off. Oh, where'd he go? He flying? Nope, he's up in a tree now.
He's right over there in the bush to the right.
Oh, my God.
There he went.
Now he flew away. In the famous words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. Now it's Memorial Day weekend and we are down at Middlesex, and it looks like we may get a few flights in before the rain comes. And it looks, most of all, it looks like something really, really cool here. We don't have a single goose on the whole field. Hoping to get a couple of flights recorded if Joe is in a mood to record flights today, so we can go home and take a look at it, think about the things we want to do as far as trimming this out. One of the things Joe wanted to accomplish today was to sort out his props. He's got a whole bunch of props he wants to try. This looks like he's on a little bit of a lean run from the way the motor sounds. Yeah, a little bit lean. No, I guess it's okay. This is the 12 1/4. Is that 12 1/4?
12 1/4.
Okay.
Now the reason I'm running 2 head gaskets is so that I get enough engine room. That only has a 6-ounce tank in it. So that's, you know, because the compartment's smaller.
And it's 5% fuel?
Yeah.
5? Okay.
I mean, I'm okay. I know I got one prop that works. I just want
Well, you want more than one.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I know. That's what I'm trying to.
One is like having one girlfriend. That's no good at all. Okay. Is in the course of any prop testing, there's going to be some throwaway flights, and we're getting our share today. But the thing, and I always emphasize it to Joe, is not to get frustrated. A lot of times the prop that the engine wants to turn isn't the prop the plane flies best with. So you run into that problem. Now we've gone through the whole gauntlet here of 14.5 rev ups. Some are too slow, they're under pitched. But I know part of the problem is And maybe you can use this to your advantage. He has an extra 24,000 head gasket in the motor to give him mileage. A lot of times when you need the mileage, you just can't. You have to sacrifice flying that big paddle blade prop that the plane flies with, but it's okay. We're not losing a good day. This is a day we're really not losing any air even. It's a crummy day, so. And we will get the prop testing done today. Now in my case, what I've been doing is going back and forth with all the 3-bladed props. I've narrowed it down to 2 that I like. The one that's on the plane has just a little less pitch than I like, and its backup has just a little more pitch. So what I'm going to do at the end of this day is, when I go home, obviously, find that mid-range point and make a 3rd prop right in the middle, and that should give me, I hope, a good combination. Tiger 60, the 14.5s are an extremely good prop, but you have to run a high compression motor. Usually you can't add a lot of head gaskets. Well, in this case, because the plane only has a 6-ounce tank, we're limited in terms of what fuel we have. We only have 5% here today. And the fuel capacity is the limiting factor here, so we may not be able to run these props. And I guess the point is, when you're having a tough day where you're really not happy with the kind of flights you're getting, and I get plenty of them, is just tough it out. Because you know, at the end of all this prop testing, we'll have 1 or 2 good props, and it's almost a given that we will succeed. Joe is a take no prisoners guy, take no props guy. Okay, finally it looks like we got close. We got the speed we want. At the last flight, Joe was off by 1 click on the needle, so we clearly couldn't evaluate it. Braking nice, dead air, so he's going through his own air, and taping the hinge lines will help that. And it helps relative to how heavy the model is. So we always want to listen for the run before we make any decision here. He's got 2 or 3 more props to test, and I want to get it as good as we can on this prop. And this stuff just can really fatigue you. It just takes time. But boy, after a day of doing this, when you get that where it's just the right speed, just the right run, giving you that nice 2-cycle at the top of the flight, oh man, is that nice. There we go. And we're in dead air here. There we go. The run is just right now. And next week is the Circle Burner contest, so the week after that is Brodax, so we're trying to get a little tune-up going here. Now, it's a shame. I don't like to tape hinge lines at the field. I like to do it by putting the tape on my glass table so it isn't totally sticky, so we really have no way of taping it, but taping it would definitely help. And the thing is, this plane is 3 ounces heavier than his Blue Spitfire, and you just need a total different trim on it to get it to maximize it. I've flown this plane many times and it's got a lot of potential, but if the motor isn't right and little things like the hinge line are hurting you, it's a problem. It just makes it more difficult to get consistent flights. And anytime you have a lot of head gaskets in a motor, the needle tends to get just a little touchy. So if you're not real good at setting a needle, that isn't one of the choices you want to make. Another thing that's hurting Joe today is he's using up last year's fuel, and it may even be that the fuel, for sure, old fuel always gives you Mickey Mouse little problems that are really hard to put your finger on in terms of the run. So what we might do before this day is out is try a tank of Power Master They just got cases, 60 cases, 60 gallons of it. And that's very, very consistent fuel. I've had no problem with that fuel at all. And I can't say that about too many other brands. It does not vary from gallon to gallon. And it's been one of the things that's made developing the motors a lot easier, having consistent fuel. Now he was running short on the fuel here, so that's why I'm doing this with the stopwatch. Usually it gives you a burp somewhere up here, a little identifying burp that, hey, I'd like to have a little bit bigger tank. In which case it doesn't matter, because Joe is the master of making tanks. In fact, he made the tank that's in Miss Ashley right now. And seems to be working as well as I could ever expect this early on in the program. And well, before the day's out, if we can, we'll try to get some Miss Ashley flights if I can. Joe's been working on the plane every time I've been flying, so I want him to get his stuff taken care of first. All right. You happy with that landing?
You like that, huh?
I made all day. Okay, and this is deep pitched?
No, 6.
Oh, it's a third. Okay, that's a Suarez prop then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
This way you can kind of. Now this one, if you ran the motor just the way it was, you're close. You know, it's flyable. But I'd still like in this dead air, and believe me, that I just took the last flight. I think Joe videotaped it. That air is, I don't think dead is the right word. It kind of moves a little bit. I was kind of moving around there trying to fake you out. You got that knurled on both sides?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they have a lot of drive. There's a lot of drive in that prop. The only way you can ever figure this out is you got to try all of them. I mean, wouldn't it be, and I've done it, you come back from the Nats, and there's one prop in the toolbox you didn't try. You say, yeah, that one will not work. You put it on the plane, you go, ah! That 4-blade that was on the original Spitfires, I still have that prop. I don't, oh.
No, that's my...
That's the bag.
I'll have to open this baby up. Huh?
But you're not going to get away with a 6. With this, it's going to go in.
Yeah?
Yeah, because you got a lot less. Well, you don't really know. It's more diameter, but the blades are thinner.
Yeah, there's no blade here. It's.
But you better get it up, you know.
I'm going to borrow your
Anyway.
little finger guard here.
Yeah, that thing was whacking me this morning. I got a black fingernail. He was mean. Karen must have put the hex on it when I left.
She's okay?
Yeah. She's having fun planning her daughter's wedding.
Oh, she's getting married?
Yeah, August. Now these props usually have a little more pitch than I like, and all kinds of drive. In fact, he's going like a rocket ship now, a little faster than I'm sure he's happy with. But because this plane is 3 ounces heavier than the blue one, in essence what you need is more drive. So I don't know where this is going to wind up. I think he's going to wind up making a tank a little bigger. Now see, we're not even hitting a 2-cycle at the top of these maneuvers, and the plane is going too fast. So somewhere in here, if you're not hitting a 2-cycle and the lap times are too fast, there's a very obvious solution. You got to de-pitch the prop. Now running lean like this, he's going to have plenty of mileage. But the problem is, the plane seems to be going too fast. But that's one of the throwaway flights. One other thing you can see, even in dead air, going at this speed, you're not stalling the wing. The wing doesn't stall at this high speed. So what we really would like to accomplish is, once the hinge lines are taped, it shouldn't stall the wing at a lower speed, and that's what we're working towards. Anyway, we're not having a real good fun day, but we are learning, and Joe is always the best of students. Always actually pays attention to me like I know what I'm doing, so I don't know if that shows that he's real smart or not. Anyway, what we have found with Miss Ashley, I think Joe got one flight on this, is that we were running the motor right about where we want to run it, and I don't know what the lap speeds were, but it felt just a tad slower than I'd like to be. I'd like to be 1/10 faster. So I could put the prop with just a bit more pitch on, or because I'm in the middle of the motor run, I can just go in the equivalent of one click, just ease the needle in or go up 100 RPM. Another thing too, I enjoy the challenge of tuning. This is one of the parts of the hobby that I really like, because it's so complex, and believe me, I don't know if somebody can write a computer program for it, but there's so many solutions to each problem. And if you wanted to fly this fast, you wouldn't have to tape any hinge lines, but I'm sure Joe's going to feel at the end of this flight just a little bit fast for the conditions we're flying under. So I hope some of this is going to be of value to you. Okay, we're up to the last of the props. This is a 13.6 rev up, cut to 12 3/4. Usually a good prop for these conditions. The conditions we're under now, usually you do need a lot more drive and no concern at all about wind-up in maneuvers. The way the air goes through here, if you've ever seen this field, it comes over these trees and you get killed, and the wind is just starting to blow now. But after about 3 hours, I'm sure Joe has benefited from going through all these props, and next week at the contest or at Brodax, you'll have some inkling of which one should be on the plane. That's always a big help to do it ahead of time. And there's good information for somebody who would like to dig in deeper into the mysteries of props. Of what I've learned is on 2 separate videos that I think have helped a lot of people. Certainly a lot of it is just cut and try. It's not the kind of thing you really can tell ahead of time. Other than if a plane is relatively heavy, it usually winds up needing a more drive, I'll call it a more drive prop, more diameter, more pitch, or both. When a plane gets lighter, you can usually get away with using a little bit less diameter, a little bit less pitch. And we've basically, another thing that's worked real well here is we've toughed out through some crappy flights. I know Joe has picked up on one of my philosophies that when I have a problem, I really want to grind it out until I get the solution. I don't want to go home and think about it. I want to hammer it out right at the field. And when it comes to props, there's really no substitute for just putting them all on a plane, seeing which ones seem to fly the plane best. And usually the motor will like a prop that's just a little bit too small to fly the plane, at least in my experience. And then making the compromises. Usually on a runway, you can get away with a lot less pitch, and in an environment like we have now, usually you want a little bit more pitch and a little bit more diameter. But anyway, we're going to go home today at least knowing that we've learned something. Oh, I see the battery light coming on here. Never quite sure if this is going to end in the middle of Joe's flight or not. Usually you do get one more flight. And another thing that's cut into my personal flying time is the fact I have to get back to the house early. They're working on Stacy's shower next weekend. And there's so many arrangements, and I'm going to be videotaping it, of course. We've got a couple little surprises planned for her. We did well, let's hope they're surprises. I'll find out when it's over. It's been Karen's made a very elaborate plan to try to see if she can trick her into coming down to this nice, really nice restaurant that they rented the whole restaurant. Oh, again, more on that later. I just hope she has as good a life with her fiance Rob as I've had with Karen, and leave it at that. Right about now, the air is really starting to get crappy here. It's really starting to get unpredictable. I can see the plane wiggling and shaking and doing all kind of crazy things. But that's the world of Middlesex. All part of the game. Anyway, we've had a relatively productive.
average speed.
Not missing anything. Whoa! Whoa! Down! We're joined at the flying site today by world famous speed flyer. What's your name? We got world famous speed flyer. Bob Lambert. Bob Lambert, world famous speed flyer, former world record holder. Former Elvis Presley records. I don't know what he is. He's here and he wants to test out his little, kind of cool little elliptical wing ship. Never been flown, so we're just going to move our equipment off the field, give him a little hand with this. Not that we know anything about speed, that's for sure.
For the world speed contest.
Now, when you were the world speed champion, and it's debatable, we don't know if he's lying to us or not. I think he's the champion of the go-go bars, not the world champion. Anyway, nice little plane. And he, for anybody who doesn't remember, he has the world famous Spirit of St. Louis that does the whole stunt pattern. That was a cool, when I saw how good that plane flew, I was very, very impressed. All right, let me get ready. Now, I've heard, this in Westchester, they're having this antique speed contest?
Yeah, white planes.
White planes, okay. And the guys, what is there a date that from which the planes have to be built?
July 31st, you have to send in your time.
Oh, to do it by mail.
Yeah.
Let me get my trick watch that only records what I want it to record.
You know what I would like you to do? Just tell me how many laps this goes.
Okay.
If it goes.
We could send the guy the video and I could speed it up. I can make you like a trick copy.
I need to fly for 1 mile. And they time these things from the time it leaves the ground.
Okay, so lap,
You don't have to time
when it comes around the first time, that's 1 lap.
Yeah,
Right?
just,
Okay.
oh, you can count the laps from the time you let it go.
Okay, cool.
Is that an old engine or a modern engine?
Yeah, no, it's a HB, old HB. It
Oh,
ain't
okay.
really new. I could put it.
We'll speed up the video so you look like you're going 300 miles an hour.
I could put it.
Whoa! Ooh, I like that sound. No muffler. A new event, we're going to mail in your stunt patterns. You just videotape your own stunt pattern, and then we'll have John Brodak about 2 o'clock in the morning after a few beers give out the scores. I like that. Save all that commuting out to Brodak's. Anyway, it looks like he's getting a flight here. Anyway, on that last stunt flight, Miss Ashley, we just wanted to see where the envelope of performance would end for that prop, and I think we found the end of it. Air was moving all over the place. And it's been a good day of prop testing. about ends?
Yep. Go ahead, you can commentate while I get busy here. Old One-Eyed Joe.
One-Eyed Joe.
Now, if I can only zoom. There you go.
Now the thing will run for 10 minutes on burp.
A little different approach.
Don't go down, don't go down. That was funny. Now that the air is so bad, it's really dangerous to fly. We really shouldn't even be flying here. We've been trying up some props that have about 9 inches of pitch in them. These are just throwaway flights from this point on. Anyway, thanks a lot to Joe for his help. He tried on that last flight, get some footage from inside the circle. And he was the first to admit it was not as easy as he thought it would be. We go home knowing just a little bit more than we knew when we got here. We know where the bagel store is, where the coffee shop is, and we're gonna go have some coffee. Now we had a good day at Middlesex yesterday. We get up to the field this morning. I waited out the geese situation, but unfortunately it's a gardening day. So we're going to try to get a couple flights here in between Rich. Rich is up there with his plane. Rich is almost done with his new plane. And then get back and get our shrubs in. Rich, I gotta tell you something. The only reason I come up here in the morning is for those free bagels that you bring every week. Stop bringing the bagels and your history. Actually, Rich does bring bagels. This is last year's Strega, soon to be a Brodak kit. Using up those carbon fiber gear that he maliciously broke in a crash. Yesterday we did accomplish a lot with the props, and I got up here this morning and got a couple of flights on Miss Ashley with the prop now de-pitched just a bit. The one flight there was going a little faster than I wanted to in the rough air, and so I now have one that I'm real happy with in good air and one that I'm hopefully going to be happy with in that turbulent daredevil end of the day. In fact, it's no bargain up here now, and I don't think we're going to get a whole lot done because we need to get the shrubs in. We got to finish that garden. It's Memorial Day weekend, and Memorial Day we are having our kids over, the wedding party over, Elvis Presley's coming over, President Nixon. We got to cook hot dogs for everybody. But anyway, I hope you got some information from whatever we did with that day with Joe. Joe did most of the flying. But going back and forth with all the props, picking out the ones that are underpitched or overloading the engine. And that's probably the part of it that most people have trouble figuring out, is when the load is wrong, when it's sagging instead of two-cycling.
Yeah.
Now, this is a Jet 50. This is not a 60. Yeah, he's got this flying soft too. He's a candidate for a little tune-up here. Oh, we're not going to be able to stay much longer. Huh?
Here comes the national champ. He's going to mail back his trophy though, harass there.
He better not.
Yeah, he didn't build that whole airplane himself. Somebody helped him glue a flap together.
Uh-oh. Anyway, next weekend is our circle burner meet. We usually try to get out here Saturday, help the people that are working on their planes, like Andy, who just happened to show up. And unfortunately, or fortunately, as the day may be, Karen always has to remind me that there is life in the shrubs. And I really do love sitting out in my backyard after dark and having a cup of cappuccino or eating a ginger snap, looking at my fish. I love that new fish, Zorro, boy. He's been good company. See, I'm usually in the best part of the workday. I'm in that shop alone, grinding away on tune pipes and whatever, grinding my fingernails down. And it's nice to have companions. And for the people that don't experience the fun of having tropical fish or an outdoor pond, it's a lot of fun. It's like having a dog that you don't have to walk. Or having a dog is like a fish that doesn't swim. Okay, now I've been trying to watch Rich's flight. It's very soft in the two-cycle part here. And I suspect one of the things he's got is too much prop on the engine. It's not letting it unload at the top of the maneuvers. Even though the motor's braking, don't know if you can hear this, the motor's braking properly, but it's sagging. Yeah, I think Rich is in need of a little prop tune-up here. And luckily we brought all the props. I think he's using a two blade. We could actually do some two blade testing today if we had more time, but we're only going to have maybe another half an hour or so, the most. And then the shovel calls. And hey, we're closing in on the roof. Closing in on getting Miss Ashley trimmed. The first competition will be next week. We'll see how she does in competition. Danny got to fly the other day, a whole day at Middlesex. I couldn't make it because we were roofing away. But Danny's getting a lot of flights on his P-51 now, so we're looking forward to having some good shootout contests. And if you're a subscriber, you'll obviously get to see them all, and if you're not, hey, don't go for it. Nope, he goes for it. He crashed a plane last year going for it, so I don't know if we should give him this IQ award or not. I never am in favor of going for it. So and now it turns out he's got 19 extra ounces of fuel in it. Well, you got a lot of guts, Rich. I'll give you credit for that.
You know, I mean, because he gets done snoring, you see Danny, you know, Danny.
Why don't you just loop it to shut it off? I'll call Gene and tell him you're having trouble shutting the motor off. Oh, as always, the national champion builds a killer plane. Ooh, that's nice. Wow, this looks great. Use aeropoxy on this? Or is that epoxylite?
Epoxylite.
Oh, yeah, okay, don't be too heavy. How much does it weigh?
Well, that's why it's all bubbled.
How much does it weigh?
47.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Actually, there's no fillet over here. That's just
oh, you just filled, like, blended it in?
Sanded it in, yeah.
Got a little trim tab out there?
Trim tab with a locking mechanism.
Oh yeah, cool.
The arc meets at all times, so it can go up and down.
Right,
45.
right, and just pinch the bolt. You don't need a link then. Oh, the wheel pants are nice. Hey, I didn't know you were this good. You should have told me. I wouldn't have given you that much help. Let's see what are you doing now?
I'm just taking one head gasket out.
What is this, carbon fiber motor mounts?
It's Brodeck.
No, that's windy. That's not Brodeck.
Oh, those things?
Yeah. I gotta know all your tricks. You're a tricky guy. I gotta find out about this stuff. Yeah, that looks good. What'd you do, cut the head on the motor?
No, it's a stock motor, but it's seems to want to go leaner towards the end of the flight, but not much.
Okay.
So I'm taking out one gasket.
That'll help. You got 10% fuel?
Yeah.
This came out real nice.
Yeah, it's
47, there's no problem. That's what mine weighed.
47, yeah. It's,
They fly good. You got the hinge lines taped? No.
but I'll tell you what, it flies just like, it reminds me of flying your airplane.
Flies like the yellow one?
Yeah.
Similar? Yeah. So don't. But if you want to hit it harder, taping it seems to help. That's the only reason I tape mine. That plane is in England now. The guys in England are all flying it.
That's what I heard, yeah.
Yeah, he's making money renting it out by the flight. I don't know. Maybe I should have kept it and done the same thing myself.
Maybe you can get a kickback.
Legend of the Cardinal lives on through national champion Andy Harisiadis. Oh man, I'll tell you.
That's nice, huh?
That is a nice little plane, boy. Andy, you're bringing us to Brodax, right? I need a plane to fly in profile. Now that my plane's in England, I bet I got to get somebody that's a sucker to build me one of these.
You sent it to England?
Yeah, it's in England. No, actually not, because the hard box is heavy and it takes a lot of energy. That's a good looking plane. I'm going to have to paint my next plane just like it.
Last night.
Oh, man.
Nice job.
Every night?
Yeah.
Boy, that looks good, I'm telling you.
Just got a little bruise over here where I dropped the lawnmower.
Mike, everybody gets to fly today and I get to go plant shrubs. I don't think that's fair. What do you think? You think I should tell Karen it's not fair?
I think it is
I think you ought
fair.
to hire Uncle Dennis to go help Karen plant shrubs.
Oh, I think you should chain Uncle Dennis to the shovel today. Thing is, it's got a nice thick wing. It doesn't have one of these little skinny airfoils.
That lighter.
Yeah. Mike, it still looks good, even though you dropped the ladder on it. Oh, man.
What year is this from? 92?
This is from 93, I think.
93.
Yeah. 93, so it's 9 years old. It's still flying. Controls aren't worn out yet.
Built up wing?
Nah, it's foam wing. Flat tail. You like that flat tail, huh? Hmm. Yeah, it's nice. You should see Mike's new Cardinal with the candy apple paint. Holy crow. Mike, I know you're going to be a showstopper when you bring that plane out.
Oh, yeah.
When is that going to be? 2000
Oh, why can't shrubs plant themselves? Oh, I don't want to have to go pick up the shovel and plant shrubs. Oh no. sure to be competitive out at Brodak's and at our contest next week with this. This killer flies real nice. That was funny, he said he had to put that big trim tab out on the wing. And of course, anytime you make a trim tab, you'll never need it. So he said it trimmed out level as can be. So it looks like he's going to have a good flying plane here. This is a stock OS Max FP. I think he just took a head gasket out. You can see the air is kind of bumpy here. Lumpity bumpy as usual. Andy Hirsiadis and his all-new Brodak Cardinal. Mike Kajeski, the Windy's 9-year-old model, and the Jet 60.
Give us the authority to close the gate when we're using the field. And when we're not using the
Now, as we leave the joys of model aviation here, for the joys of gardening and roofing. Anyway, at least we got to socialize a little bit today. It's cool, as I'm trying to back out of here, there's a sign on the mirror that says, "Cardinals in the mirror may appear closer than they are." I see another cardinal coming. Who's that, Cooper? Hey, Mike, the fuel is down the house if you want it.
I didn't know you were here. I'll give you. I already got the fuel.
Oh, you got it? Well, give me the money.
I'll give you the check right now. You leaving right now?
Right now.
All right, let me just put this down and I'll go get my checkbook. It's in the car.
For money, I'll stay around. Power Master money. This is a good picture
What,
of your
me writing the
GB.
check? Oh.
Nah, hell with your check. You gonna be outside? Oh, this time of year, Rutherford is so nice. The tree-lined streets are starting to fill in, and the shrubs are calling. Windy, windy, plant me, plant me. Could be out flying today.
I still remember your kiss as you nestled within mine.
Well, we're closing in on having a roof done. Wow, after all this time.
Came those moments in bliss in the shade of the sheltering palm.
Well, I thought I'd pass. This is a really good flying tip. This is a water machine gun, and this is the only thing that clears geese off the field. I wanted to report this before. You just blow them off the field with water. They seem to don't like to be squirted with water, but we leave this in the truck at all times now. It's an important part of flying. Anyway, most of the new plants are in. The new fountain is in. Oh, I just love this backyard. I love coming out here, get my cup of coffee going, come back, even though we didn't get a lot of flying in today. Check out the backyard. Karen has done a wonderful job planting this, and she loves having me for her gardening slave. Out here by the pond. And able to share it with your friends through video. Now, because it's still early in the trim of this plane, every time I come home from a flying session, I like to kind of pull it apart like you would take apart a, I don't know, racing motorcycle or something. And I've been very careful to check all the screws, check every one. I've been using, you can see how nice and dry this is with this pipe with the special stinger. In fact, I made a few spares already. I ought to be trying them soon. One of the things I'm looking for here is any place this is cracking, any of the glue joints that don't look like they're holding up, especially around the nose area. Anything that doesn't look like, you know, like it's going to work out for me here. But so far, I guess one of the things is we've been lucky, I guess. Anyway, I'm still, every time I check, even the pipe mount didn't even get loose. So what is very little vibration on this carbon fiber fuselage. And I've been checking always the wheel collars. These things I get nervous about them. And this worked out real well as a way. First off, you eliminate that rubber piece, and you eliminate, like what happened to Dan, is it flew off and soaks the whole inside of your plane. So this seems to work real well now, but of course I want to have, in fact I got to go over to the box here, the old pipe box. I have other pipes that I want to, at this point in time, maybe I should be putting one in. I made one up with 2 thin stingers. This is kind of Paul Blair technology. And one that I've had on Strega for a while. So these 2 I know run, and of course you don't want to put a brand new pipe on a plane ever. You want to have some amount of run time on it. Ensure that there isn't a problem, because you can't really ensure that until you run the plane. Just like a glow plug, you'd really feel a lot better if you had some flights on it. But doing the maintenance, this is one of the things now that I'm probably comfortable doing, because in the years of racing motorcycles, basically we came back from the race and had to do the maintenance. So this I know some people don't like to do it or don't do it. And then somewhere down the road a screw comes loose, a motor mount, a head screw. But if you have like a legitimate maintenance program, you can avert a lot of the tragedy at the field of a screw coming apart. Now this is one of the things Rich was curious about on his Nobler. You can see the orange peel. Now the way you could have made this better is by putting some retarder in the last coat of clear. It would have been 10–20% better. What we did, we took some steel wool just to knock it down, and that steel wool just knocks the high spots off. And then we took some 1200. Where's that little piece of 1200? Can't even read it. Yeah, it's 1200. And a little bit of Gorham. So what he originally wanted to know was, is there enough clear on a plane? Well, the way you tell if this became red, you know you don't have enough. You got to really monitor if you see any hint of red at the point you see red or the trim color, you stop. Are you buffed out a flap already? Okay. There's nothing wrong with this flap. I mean, I could buff it out a little bit nicer. See, you got this flat.
I just did one side.
Okay, but here, Rich, you see hey, where you got little spots like this? See, now you've gone through here.
Right. Some of this is brush touch.
Yeah, okay, but what you do is you touch this up when you're done. All right, he's got little spots. Let's look right here. You can see the little spots. Well, when you're sanding it now, you want to kind of avoid that area if you can. And then when you get the Gorhams out, this looks fine. I mean, if you get the whole plane to look like this flap, how bad is it going to be?
Well, that's what I want. You know, there was lots of retarder in here, Win. That's all.
But you sprayed too thick. So you can put retarder in. Let's say the mix is 50-50.
Right.
50, and you had 10% retarder. It's not the same as if you had 10% retarder in the 50. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
In other words, the whole mix, and I know you had trouble, then this is, did that melt from the retarder?
No, that melted from stupidity.
Okay. Stupidity has claimed a lot of victims in my shop over the years, including me.
Same with, that's why it's all full of little white stuff
Okay.
in there, too, because it's sneaky, you know. It's the third canopy. The first one I microwaved.
See what you should do, Rich? Take a little spot on the nose, right here. Take a spot with that 1200. You could use water. You don't even have to use M600. Do a little spot, buff it out with Gorhams. You can hit it with steel wool if you want it. That'll just save you a little time. I don't like using a steel wool because it leaves scratches. See, average people don't see the scratches. They just do, but I see them when I hook on the fluorescent lights.
Yeah, well, I'm trying.
I don't want to see the scratches.
I'm trying to fly it this weekend, so
okay. Well, you could buff it out after you fly it. You don't have to. You don't have to do it right now. Okay, now you can see where he hit it with the steel wool. Look over here. Let me see if I can candle this. You still have spots, but there's less there. Windex is okay. Water. Now get one little spot done with that 1200. See what guys used to do years ago? They'd take that red rubbing compound, that DuPont stuff, and that'd go right through. You take the tank vents off with that stuff. But it would make it shine, but it would leave scratches. So that was fine as long as everybody had scratches. But now, in this day and age, nobody wants scratches. When you go to the Nats, it's not like, okay, now take some Gorhams and just put some on it. What do you care? You're not paying for it. Just put it on. I mean, this is not high-tech stuff. Polishing a circle if you can. It's better to, you know what I'm saying? In like an orbital sander would. It seems, at least to me, that it cuts all. There you go. You got it coming up right now. I mean, let me see. Yeah, now what? Here's a part that isn't buffed. I mean, what are we talking about here?
This is the secret as far as trying to get these, trying to cut
Well,
down. And again,
okay, but the secret with this is 4-0 steel wool. The secret is not to get it on this thick to begin with. When you go look at other planes, see, if you were spraying with that high-end gun, you would get less of this.
right.
Some amount less. That's what justifies the cost of a high-end gun. Well, you said that other guy had some fancy stuff he was going to let you use? Right,
Yeah.
but see, those guns spray at lower pressure, so they don't get as much orange peel. So you got a lot of orange peel here. That's what's going to be the determining factor here. But there's still no reason you can't finish this up, you know, to where it's real nice.
Let's see what happens. I just picked that out. So that's okay.
Let me see, where'd you do? Okay, but you see you had a touch up there, that's why. You've touched that up.
Yeah.
Now, did you seal the edges of these lines with clear?
No.
Okay, see Mike,
I know.
I'll just show. Mike's got his plane up here on a wall. You didn't have time to do the leg, but by sealing the edges, I think, at least I've found in the past, you get a little bit nicer edges.
Well, you get anything better. I just tried to make these, and then I learned about making it, you know, I mean, I'm closing the door after the horse is out.
Okay.
But I did these myself, and I'm,
Yeah.
so
yeah.
I
But
did,
the point is, I don't see any reason that you should be.
the next one will be better.
Yeah,
That's all I try to do is
Yeah.
make the next, learn a little as dumb as I am.
But if each one gets a little better, it's inevitable you'll have what you want. It's when you keep doing the same thing over and over. Now
Well,
pick a
that's it.
spot to knock that down. Pick one bay or something that you want to work on.
Every time
You
I
can
work
cut
out.
this wet, too. You can Windex it or water it or.
Yeah.
I mean, when we refinish furniture, she always does it wet. It'll really cut when it's wet, though. Just watch you don't go right through. I've found it's the most important thing is to do one bay at a time. If you try to do 2 or 3, I don't know why, it just never seems to work. Stick with one bay, get it shiny, and then it seems like, oh yeah, okay. And you don't have to, like if the contest is Sunday, so you buff one wing panel out. Next week you buff another one. Oh, there's a football game on? Buff another one out. I find it's easier to do it in sections. Yeah, now look at the difference. Okay, look at the
That'll come up.
difference.
The big thing
This'll come up.
to me, this is it.
Okay.
Now, I've been trying to use that green crap because it doesn't, this stuff will rust. Bottom line is this is not stainless steel wool.
We'll buy some. Find a source for it.
I can't find it.
McMaster car doesn't have
What
it?
they say was the green.
Okay, we have that here.
Double O. This is 4O.
This is 4.0, yeah.
So that's the difference. But
Let me just show you how cheap this stuff is. I think I got some down in the aluminum foil. I got a whole box of it here.
Yep.
Oh, extra coarse. Yeah, we'll give them that. No, you want the one that says 4.0.
Right.
Here, here's what I have left. I have coarse. Here.
Well,
Here,
the main
see, it
thing-
says 4.0. Whoa. 4.0.
This stuff's like 89 cents. Or
It's
something.
nothing.
It's
Yeah.
incredibly cheap. That's not it.
Cheaper than buying pizza.
I had been told, stay away from that. You got it because it'll rust, and it will.
It will, sure.
Except that this is an airplane. I can see almost every. You know what I'm saying? It's.
Yeah. But who cares if
And
it
I'm not
rusts?
gonna,
You throw
if
it
I don't
away.
put any more clear on top of it, it's not a problem.
No.
See that
no.
what you worry about is using that and then put more clear on it.
But you're not
Then
going to put
it'll
any more clear on here.
Right. No, I'm done.
No, yeah, you could take this home with you. In
No,
fact.
I'll stop and buy something.
I bought that in Dominic's, up by,
Yeah. No, I know
he's
where
got
to
it
get
by the gross. Home Depot has it.
Oh yeah.
But that's a good little, I mean, when you want to buff, the first time you buff a plane, it's very intimidating. But after that,
Well, especially with the open bays,
well, do the bottom first. You think you have problems? Check this out. This was, well, I don't see. I see a ladder here. Coming through. More. Oh my God! Wait till Karen gets home. Oh my God. Oh my God! My house, my roof. You guys still on the roof? Eh? Stick a pig in the ass with a knife? Eh? Look at this. Oh, Karen's gonna die when she gets home. Mike, Karen's coming home early. She's got a gun. Oh, my house. Ah. I go get you lunch at the bagel store, but don't throw any more things down on me. carrying Peabody's plane out and he lops a sheet of plywood on us. Oh man, have a little respect. My house. Just because we have another guy here. In fact, he's getting ready to fly right now. Some kind of a twin engine thing. I don't know what they're doing over here. But this is going to really disrupt and probably end this session once and for all. Just difficult to, well, you know, there's engines running in the background and stuff. But anyway, what I want to do, I got 2 flights today, and I may get another one if these guys get done, or if they, well, I'll hang out for another half an hour or so, see if I can get one more. Okay, what I'm really seeing most of all is on the square 8, this side rising up, the top leg rising up. That's pretty obvious. The intersection on the vertical 8 looked like I brought it down a little bit on that second flight. Hourglass maybe should be leaned over more, I'm not sure. And the outside part of the overhead 8 needs to be a little smaller. Just the big obvious cleanups I'm trying to do. This is only the second flight I've recorded this year to check geometry, so we'll see if we can get rid of some of those big mistakes before the week's out. Now it looks like Mel and Augie got some kind of a bomber going here. We're going to wait for them to, oh, the Tiger Cat. Something to get going before we actually start our motor up. Sounds nice. Love the sound of a twin, everything in sync. Now we only have about an hour up the field today, so we don't want to conflict with anybody here that's practicing. I think there's a scale meet coming up, I'm not sure. I don't even know if he has lines out here. I don't know what they're doing. But we're definitely going to wait and see what goes on until we, well, oh, they got the radio control thing going on. Not sure how this works, but it looks exciting. All right, Augie's giving him a launch. Looks like a big Tiger Cat. I've never seen this plane. This may be a new plane. Anyway, we'll let him get his flight in, and we'll get over and do our thing. How heavy is that? About 14 pounds. 14 pounds.
I really should have brought it down easy.
Well, I videotaped it for whatever that's worth for you.
Too heavy.
What's making it so heavy? The wood or paint?
Fiberglass.
Fiberglass. Ooh, don't say that word around Windy. Wow, it was heavy. Yeah, it looked heavy.
I got to put 245s in there.
What's in there? 235s?
240s.
260s. Quit fooling around.
Yeah.
You got enough room in there for tuned pipes, for crying out loud. I'll make you little fat tuned pipes.
Look at the damage I did on this.
Wow, that's a beauty. You got all the rivets and everything on there?
Yeah, it was a beauty. Tore the landing gear out of it. I came down very heavy.
Yeah.
Very.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah, well, it's okay. I got other toys to play with in the garage.
Not me.
I got my race car in there. I got my
stunt is my life.
Yeah, well, scale was my life.
It was. Really lucky we're going to get a flight in here before we got to go back, but we've basically lost half an hour. Well, it doesn't really matter. The air is not great today, but we want to get one flight just to look at where we are in the trim of this plane. Okay. After the crash of the B-2 bomber here. Well, from this day on, we're going to start working on geometry every day, feeding George some of the tapes, asking him to go over them, maybe even getting Big Art to look at some of the tapes, and working on some of these giant geometry flaws that we have to work on. But anyway, it didn't turn out to be much of a day because of a combination of things here. Number one, the air is just terrible, and there's just too many other things going on the field to do anything really productive. So we're going to get back to the shop, pull out our latest batch of pipes, and go to work.
All right, Wendy, so go do the mail. Go see if you got anything in the mail, any nice pictures, anything worth looking at.
Anyway, anytime I come home from flying, I gotta feed my fish. Oh my God, I love this is Zorro, our new little fish. We got 4 little baby koi out in the pond and 2 little orandas here. This guy, what are you hiding from? What, are you afraid the big tune pipe monster's gonna eat you? The other guy's not afraid of anything. Anyway, let's go over and look at the mail. I know we got a pile today. Now, from Ken Clapson, and believe me, I got this really neat letter. I'll read some of this later. It's really funny. He says, this is specifically addressed to Paul. I don't put the lettering on the wing, Winter. He says he's going to be hunting for voodoo at the next contest. Anyway, Ken Clapson's Stuntress finally in full Brodak colors. The nose prior to installing the manifolds. The little dummy exhaust manifolds. Ken, I gotta tell you, I love the paintwork. Boy, I wish Paul Winter was inspired to do this quality of work. A real nice spin-off of the Voodoo paint job, the P51 Voodoo. I have to tell you, this Voodoo paint job is really nice. Now notice the little thing he has on the side, Stuntmaster Popcorn. If you remember back when he sent us the Pampa popcorn. And by the way, Dan Banjock got to see these pictures, Ken, and he said he has more checkerboards than you, so you've got to install more checkerboards. Sponsored by Stuntmaster Popcorn. Now he's having a little trouble around the canopy with crazing. I don't know. I can't really see it in these pictures, Ken. I'm just going to have to take your word for it. Reno 2000 ready. I love it. Unbelievable. Hey, and it shouldn't be long when we have that the Gary Levitt's Miss Ashley Life of Gary Levitt's video in here. I don't know what the rocks symbolize here. Maybe he's just trying to showcase the plane piling up stones, or it's an Indian religious ritual. I don't know. At this point, right here, the plane is 30.4 ounces. Caption, Paul, eat your heart out. She's ready for Reno and we'll be hunting voodoo. I'm going to send this picture to Paul. Anyway, I really do like the paint job. I like the lettering on the back too, and the 20 looks real nice. Here's the man with his machine. Now we email each other every day, and Karen affectionately calls him Ken Agrippan. Anyway, what a paint job, Ken. You've outdone the tsunami. You've outdone me, in fact. This is the best one yet. He had to pay for his new tune pipe, and I did send him up. Actually, I think I sent him 2 already. Couldn't afford a haircut. Anyway, great captions. I'm gonna read some of these captions. These are the statistics of this project. 2 75-foot rolls of aluminum foil. Well, that's cool. 3 rolls of 1/8-inch masking tape. 1.5 rolls of 3/4 tape. Project pizza consumption, 6 extra larges. Coke consumption, 55 bottles. Oh man. Anyway, let's see what that looks like in the sun here, baby. Nobody's gonna have a bite at paint. It's not bright enough. Let's see that when the sun comes off of that green. I want to see how it's gonna. Oh man. Oh yeah. All right, you're doing that green is gonna be really nice.
Yeah, it looks good.
Now let's get this on video. How many more days are we gonna be working on this roof? 5, 4, 3. Actually, we're coming down a home stretch here.
Yes, we are.
And Mike said if he can't finish by the weekend, we're going flying anyway.
Yeah.
Club contest is this weekend? Yeah, that green is just looking
looks
good. That definitely looks good. I like when the sun hits it. Oh, all of those red traditions and relentlesses all had a green canopy. Really looks good. Finally got some, this is the original sample in Nomex we had. And what I noticed is by looking at it real close, other than obviously this is thicker, this is 1/4 inch. I believe that's 1/4 inch. And this is 1/8 inch. But it's going to give us a lot of potential. Now what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to lay up, I'm not going to do it today, but in the near future, I'm going to try to lay up an elevator with this. I can make elevators and flaps. I have enough material to make elevators and flaps actually, even from this sample piece. But now that we have it in-house, it changes the whole scope. Where this is the material we wanted to use in to lay up fuselage parts or parts that have a real complex compound curve. This might be better for the wing. I don't know. Having the both samples is going to be a big asset when it comes time. I know Dave is already working on that plug. Gallagher today sent us some more samples. Now what he did, he just mixed the material and poured it in cups for me. These are all the anchor resins. So you can get a feel for the consistency. Now, obviously we're going to be using molding rubber for the rest of our modeling career. So having all the information, this is a real nice one. This one is like a sponge for making a manifold. And one of the things that's hard to get in molding rubber is the tear resistance, that when you take a part out that has reverse angles and curves, it wants to tear all the time. This material seems to be a lot better than most in terms of the shear. You can't pull it apart. No, this is really good stuff. But anyway, we have their salesman's name, and I want to just put this up here for anybody that doesn't have this or is interested. The guy that we're getting this stuff from is Larry Stevens. And by the way, he is a modeler, and he is very knowledgeable about the world. Anything to do with fiberglass, he would be one of the contacts you should have in your little, and in my case, I have a box that I keep all my composite information in. This is another thing that Ed always does. He shows me how he made the mold, and in this case, this is the kind of information, this is the real world information. Now you look in some of these books and it looks like stuff falls together. And he wrote every step of how he made this. And of course, the nicest part of all is he sent the mold itself so I could look at it, which Dennis Toth and Wayne Triven, all of them have all been real good. Now here's that molding rubber. This is the real nice stuff. And he's done a hard shell around it, and the foam, this is too long to put on a video, but anybody that's really knowledgeable or interested in molding, by the way, this part is super light. Nice big wheel pant mold. Anybody can figure out how to make wheel pants. Wheel pants are probably one of the most appropriate things, because what happens is in the real world, this is what happens when you make them out of balsa wood. They're ruined. When it happens to this, the worst that can happen is you got a little paint repair. Anyway, from Ed Gallagher, and we really enjoy. I save everything Ed sends me. This is really good information, and it's information you can use right away. Now in today's mail too, a real nice set of pictures from Paul Winter. Now the story with this is, it's really not funny, but he supposedly was in the car talking on a cell phone and got excited and squeezed it, and you know how things jump out of your hand, and it jumped and went right through the outboard wing, so he had to do a big repair. But he apparently did make good use of the repair, and it looks like he's got a real nice, the paint laid out here looks super, Paul. In a letter he said he's gunning for Ken Clapson's voodoo. Now we could have a voodoo fly-off. By the way, this is I made this carbon fiber canopy mold for Paul's plane, so it's a real good replica of Miss Ashley. And by the way, Paul, I love the paint job. The paint job is just spectacular. It really looks good. You got more nah, you don't have more than Banjock, but you guys are going to have a checkerboard shootout at the Nats, I'm sure. And I'm sure we're going to see this plane at the Nats. Paul unfortunately said he's not going to be able to bring this one to Brodax, so, and of course the next, right after our club contest, 2 weeks later is actually 1 week in between where I'll be laid up because of my stepdaughter's shower, but then we're going to be getting ready for Brodax, and of course anybody that's a subscriber, you'll automatically get the tape, whatever footage we shoot out there, and we'll try to do a real good job. That was, last year's Brodax was the biggest contest ever, period. End of discussion. Probably the best too. And after months, literally months of being humiliated by Wendy for not putting the lettering on Tsunami, he broke down and put the lettering. Paul, I am impressed. You are truly a man among tsunamis. Anyway, thanks for the photos. We'll get them in the Stunt News this afternoon. Oh, I just want to show what I try to do. One person in particular, Ken Tyser, is trying to replicate what we're doing, and we're going to be doing some of this out at Brodax. I try to set up a diagonal. This is ordinary 1/8 inch tape. Get some idea of where I think 45 degrees might be. Now I can see the parallel. Now even though you're really not getting as good a view of this as possible, you can get the idea. It's kind of like Winky Dink. Now what I want to do is, I want to review a flight, just for an example. So you can have an idea. Here's the things you can really see. Here's my height. Okay, that wasn't bad. Assuming 45 should go up. In fact, what we'll do is, we don't need to look at inverted flight right now. Let's say this is where 45 degrees should be. You can see you can lay out a little grid, and this will be a big help. John Brodak is supposed to let us George and I use his big screen TV where it would be even more accurate, so I've been shooting flights every day, but this is something every person that has access, here we go. Let's see if we hit the point. Now, even though the air at the field here is a little skittery and jittery, you're certainly not going to try to get killer bottoms here. But here's a couple of the mistakes that you can see over and over. This is the flying I did this morning. Okay, I'm right in the middle. Looks like I hit that one okay. A lot of times there'll be an angle that isn't 90 degrees here. A lot of times these will fly up. But you can kind of, now see, here's a mistake. I'm starting the outside square too low. Let me back this up, because this is what you want to do. Now watch what happens. I started this too low. And I have a tendency to do that. Yeah, I'm under the line and then I'm picking the nose up. I'm flying down and then picking the nose up. Well, what I really want to do is cruise in, making that turn real easy. So there's one thing you can pick up. I'm only going to do one flight because I would just want people to get some idea of how I go back and evaluate. Triangles were looking like they were okay. Another thing too you can always do, and this is really something that's kind of simple. You can listen to your motor run. Okay, now you see the intersection was off to that side, but they're all off to that side. And I did that thing where you fly up too high. Now let's look at the square 8 to see if this flies up. Yep. The outside one is fine. And this one is flying up. That's the tendency here. It's like we got to fly in it. Notice how this side is always flying up. Now if you can pick up mistakes like this on your pattern, And I'm hoping Kent is going to send me some of his flights so I can look at them. You need to get the camera back quite a ways, almost the length of a circle. And you need to leave it on a tripod. You can't follow the plane around. But this is vertical 8. Looks like we've got the 45 pretty well under control. Went too low on that one. Now the hourglass, this is the one I'm having a real geometry problem with. Let's see what this looks like. It has the look to me like this is laid back way too much. And then at the end of this flight, I did a bunch of them just to see. Now this is real helpful. You can see how far down, overhead 8, missed the intersection. Intersection's way over to that side. So I know I need to bring that intersection over to this side. And I hope this will just give you some idea. Look at his flyers even watching our pattern here. Way too low. This line should be at 37.5 degrees, which is lower than 45, but that looked extremely low. How do you like that flight, Fly? You impressed? Bet you're impressed with that. Okay, so I hope that gave you some idea. Get some idea of how to evaluate a flight that you shoot on video. And of course, look, another, oh, that's the same. What a mean guy I am. At this point in the year on, we're going to be using that TV and tripod constantly. I like to do also is just play the same flight over and over and over and make notes. I have my little notepad out here. I'm making notes as I go along so that the next day I want to know the problems I want to work on. And of course George Aldrich has helped me in the past, Big Art, and well, quite a few people. Roger Lads has helped me. But anybody you can get to help you out, especially if you have a built-in, see if you have a built-in perception problem like I do in several spots of the pattern, I'm putting the plane exactly where I want it, but where I want it is wrong. I also can listen to that motor run and know if I'm lean in spots, if it's getting soft, if it gets racy. A very useful tool. Really serious about improving your stunt pattern? I don't know of a more useful tool. Now the nice thing about a video camera too, if you decide to do that, the nice thing is you really don't even need a helper. You need a tripod, you need a... They said we were going to have a slight chance of a little thunder shower. We're the last ones in town to have lights on. Wow, this is really getting nasty. We get a couple of these every year. Cleans all the dead branches off. Can you see this old dead tree here? Now, this guy parks here with a brand new Audi all the time. This tree's history if this thing comes down. What a mess. And I thought we were going to get some flying tonight after work. No way. What a mess. Mike got the last of the roof covered today. Can you believe this? The last of the roof was covered just today. Incredible luck. Look at this wind. Woo! Oh my God, my pond's all full of junk. I think we're going to head inside and get out of the rain.
Now, we had to spend the whole day Saturday cleaning up the mess from that last storm. We actually had half of the tree in a pond. But it's nice to open up the mail and see something I've been waiting for a long time now. Just a little memory refresher. This was the plane right here. I was 16 years old, and Harold Price, of course, this is Harold Price's Valkyries. And this is a picture taken at the Nationals in Chicago, I believe 1962, not sure. In the early 60s anyway. And I had refinished this plane under Harold's watchful eye. Wet sanded it, buffed it, and just put hundreds of hours into working on it. This was Harold's plane, the blue one with the pink trim. He had a real shot at winning at Nationals, if I remember right, and had a tank go bad. And needless to say, my skill level was, I was a fledgling junior, and virtually every junior there stepped all over me and kicked mud in my face. But I did learn something about finishing. I did learn something about construction. One of the things I learned was Harold had drawn plans to this plane. And when he passed away, I believe he was going to have it published in Flying Models and had forwarded those original hand-drawn plans to Bobby Hunt, who still has them in his archives. And possibly what's happened, well, I'm not going to get too far ahead of the story. Let me go through the story with you. But just keep this picture in mind. This was 1962. I was a 16-year-old kid, and basically Harold was the big brother of my life, helping me out. Fast forward into the future, from 62 to 2000, 38 years. Bill Hummel made this really, and he's been working on this for a long time. I just got these photos. He had his wife Annie, it's all Brodak dope, had his wife Annie pick out the trim colors, and looks like she's done a really nice job. Now he's promising to bring this later this week to the Circle Burner contest, and if time permits, let me fly it, which would be a real thrill for me. But we also have an alternative thing that we're going to try to do. From the plans, and Bill kind of had to make his own plans up, but we did a pretty good job. I did some sketching on him, he did some sketching, and I had some of the original parts of the plane, and Bill, Big Jim Greenaway, still has one of the planes. So between all of us, we had come up with what we feel is a pretty rough, maybe not accurate to within a 1/16 of an inch set of plans. And Bill had built this plane. The original had a Fox 35, and then one of them had a Merco 49. This one has a Tiger 46. But notice the colors. He did some, his wife added in some of her artistic ability, and I think the colors really look shockingly good. But our master plan is even more elaborate than this. What we're going to try to do is we're going to try to get several people that knew Harold when he was alive, Larry Scarinzi, Bobby Hunt, myself, John DeTavio possibly, to each write a little excerpt. And Pat Johnson is going to draw up a CAD-CAM set of plans, at least hopefully. We're going to try to convince him to do it. And we're going to donate it to Pampa. Now this is a plane that I feel is really unique, it's unusual, and it's worth having it in the archives of stunt. And of course Tom McLean has his version of the Crusader. I just think it'll be really great. I don't know if Tom is coming up to the Circle Burner meet, but I know he's coming to Brodak's. We get all these planes together, and I hope we'll be able to donate a really nostalgic and very nice article, a nice tribute to Harold, the late Harold Price, for the work and the love that he put into his hobby. And believe me, he was ahead. Boy, I knew him intimately. He was ahead of his time. And one of the things he was that I'll never forget, if anybody on the field ever needed help, he just put his plane down and walk over. You need a hand, you need a glow plug, you need a set of lines, whatever. He was a very special person in my childhood. This will be a nice tribute to him. One of the things I picked up, and I don't plan to use this in a plane, I plan to use this on the test bench, because when I'm doing pipe development, I want to make the pipe shorter and longer, shorter and longer. I don't want to keep throwing the zip ties away, so this kind of would be, they use these in boating, I know that, in an RC. And I'll put the address up here. If you're going to make a test bench, this might be something you want to, we're only, what, $1.99 anyway. But next time we do a test bench session, and we're going to be doing that pretty soon, here's the address, the name and address if you want to, obviously you can get it from a hobby shop. Now I also picked up some of this, it's thinner than regular tubing, and what I thought this would be good for is the pressure line going from the pipe to the plane. You need about a 15-inch piece of tubing, and when I weighed this up against the regular red stuff, it's a couple of grams lighter, but it's much thinner and it'll bend around corners a lot easier. Now I don't know if we're going to ultimately wind up using this, but same company by the way. I always like to try these things because you never know when you're going to find something that's going to be really useful to have in a toolbox, and we're going to be testing this in the next week or so. Okay, now what we're going to try to do today, if the day holds out, I don't know if it is, Mike's getting ready to mask off the top block, which we're going to paint with a dark candy apple blue. We're going to take some candy apple blue and mix it with black. Try to make up a little exotic color here.
so that, well, just so we have another color on the plane. Now, you're always pressing it. That's the deal.
I just don't
Press
have
it.
that, I don't have that big enough belly to
Yeah, I have an extra one you can have. I have 2 of them. But anyway, once we get this all backmasked off, and we're going to do our little test, which we talked to Warren Walker this morning, and he ran into a problem we may as well share, where even in California where there's very little humidity, he had some of the dope fog up, but throwing a little retarder in seems to have cured the problem right away. So what I'm suggesting you might want to do is just before you even start painting, put 10% retarder in the paint and start with 10%. It looks like we're going to beat the rain today, Mike.
Yeah.
Famous last words. Now, even though it's been really humid, the little bit of retarder we had to put in there took the initial blush right out. We had just a little bit. Oh boy, that's going to dry up nice. Now, obviously another trick is we always want to leave the tape on 24 hours. Don't want to peel the paint off. Well, any kind of lacquer, you want to leave the masking tape on 24 hours. Tomorrow when Mike gets here, we're hoping it's going to be a paintable day, and we can backmask everything and possibly get the white on. But we're closing in on having this guy finished. Okay, now you got the tape off from... Now what we want to do is pull all the tape off, the blue and the green, and then you can you can backmask, because the next step is going to be to paint the white. He's going to backmask all the trim, but not leaving a little silver stripe on the fuselage. We want to have no silver stripe on the fuselage. That's going to look just a little bit different than where the wing comes in. Canopy looks nice. I like the canopy.
Yeah. Not bad for the first paint job.
You're learning. You're learning. That gun makes it real easy to fade colors, though. Let me tell you, doing it with doing it any other way is really difficult. They really did come out nice. And of course, we're going to do a whole tape on Brodak candy colors and some of the other tricks and tips. So this is just one of the things I hope we're going to be able to use in the future, these fade-ins and fade-outs. Now just remember the same thing when you backmask it. Use the tin foil, rub the tape up on your shirt.
Yeah.
And obviously we're not going to be able to paint it today, but I hope it's not going to be raining tomorrow.
It's supposed to be nice tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what they said 2 days ago. Alright, he finally got all this pulled off, and the next step, of course, is to backmask everything. And we're in another rainy day. I just can't believe the rain we're having lately, but getting it, we're going to try to backmask it, and they said it's going to be nice tomorrow. Let's hope they're right. Mike's doing is just pressing down so you can see the 1/8-inch tape. You can see the impression it leaves. Then you can take that out. Cut the pattern undersized by, who knows, even if you were using newsprint or Playboy magazines or tar paper or something. I know you're dying to use up some of those shingles out in the backyard. It's a great way to use a rainy day that you can't work on your roof. And just cut it up undersized. Something good about working in Jersey is the weather's always predictable. It's predictably bad. I don't even want to go wet. My fish are going underwater so they don't get wet out there. And here we are masking off the plane, but tomorrow's supposed to be a sunny day. Okay. Now you want to lay that piece right in position. Oh, it's still not undersized enough? Now an easy way to do it is to just tack it down with some little pieces of 1/4 or 1/8-inch tape. And if you have to make joints in it, just tape them shut. Take a few little pieces of tape. It's just the easiest way to do it. Okay, now you can get the wide tape. See, the idea of the tinfoil is to keep the minimum amount of tape from touching the areas that have paint on them. And I know there's a lot, yeah, that's the hot tip. Never just put tape right on a plane. Always rub it on a, in this case, Mike's generic clean clothes. Just back from the cleaners.
I gotta get some candy hands here.
Candy hands. You see, you need tough hands. You never want to be a construction worker doing brain surgery. Well, just take your time. Take your time. The only way you pick up these little soft touches is by just doing it over and over and over again. And we ain't going flying today, that's for sure. The amount that we want showing. And over here, it was getting a little tight. It's just, well, we're cutting it too short. So just pull the pattern up and trim 1/8 of an inch off each side. I mean, the tin foil is relatively inexpensive. Just take it a little bit off. We want at least 1/8 of an inch of the tape, and we like it to be touching the other tape, not the paint, if possible. That's what's nice about doing this trim, where in the end we'll have a silver line around everything. That's just one of the side benefits of doing it. What you find out, Mike, is the bigger the piece is, the easier it is to do, right?
Oh, yeah.
The smaller it is, the more of a pain in the neck it is. These little pieces back here, they just make you crazy. That when they're big like this, it goes quickly. Now, if you can figure out a way to make it stop raining out there, or like teleport us to Anaheim, we'll have it made. Rain? I don't see it raining outside. Who says it's raining outside? The fish don't mind if it's raining. Ruining our whole painting program here. Now, I always believe in getting the whole bottom done first. Do all your practicing on the bottom here. All right, we're ready to flip it over there. Nothing leaking upstairs?
No, it's okay.
He's afraid that the chimney's going to fall off the house or something.
Oh, man.
All right, flip it over. See if you can do it without breaking a wingtip. In around this shop, that can be difficult to do.
Okay.
All right, now obviously the next thing, let's do the top first. Let's get an 1/8 inch line of tape on here, because we're not going to have a silver stripe on this part of it. Then you cover the whole top up in one piece. And believe me, if there's one lesson I've learned, it's raining today. There's one lesson I've learned. Never, never rush it. From this point on, there's a given amount of time it's going to take, and we're just going to have to wait out the weather. God is just not smiling on us today. Anyway, we got some cool stuff in the mail. Let's see what came in today's mail. Now, about a week ago, my friend from Norway, and I hope I'm saying his name right, Ingolf Stevenson. Anyway, the doorbell rings. He shows up at the front door. Bingo, Wendy, let me see your shop, hang out, eat pizza, whatever. And so it was great making a new friend. And I said, please send me some pictures of your latest project. So here it is a week later, and we expect to see him again. Well, obviously you can tell he's from Norway, but it was great making friends from overseas. They always have cool stories, and when we hung out having pizza and stuff, it basically was very interesting. And he was telling me all different ways the guys make to take apart planes, and I said, hey, send me pictures. It's easy, then we can share it with the whole world. That's our objective here anyway. So here's a picture of how his plane comes apart. Now, he was looking to lighten the plane on the bottom. It was bottom heavy. I believe this is powered by a Tiger 51, but I'm not sure, a Tom Dixon Tiger 51. And he took back a pair of carbon fiber gear, and I wanted to know how that worked out for him, but obviously when he took the pictures, he still had the aluminum gear on there. We hope to get some pictures from him soon, within a week or two. Anyway, one of the things he expressed was that he was very happy with the Tiger 51 package that he got from Tom Dixon. Looks like it has a big Art Adamson muffler. And a nice finish, by the way, nice paintwork. Looks like he's done a real good replication of the way Bill Rich and many of the SV11 people have painted their plane.
Of 1,000 goodbyes, no surprise. Sparkle of the stars in
Anyway, thanks a whole lot. Look forward to some more pictures. We'll send these as Stunt News. Now, Ingloff also sent a picture of how he makes a trim tab. And I'm looking at this and I'm trying to figure out exactly. See, it would have been nice if he had a little bit better caption. I'm going to ask him to send this so we could send it to Stunt News with a caption. But obviously there's a piece of carbon, a flathead bolt. Oh, I see what he has. And now I understand it. As you tighten and lengthen this bolt, this tab goes up. And by the way, that's an excellent idea. That's kind of a nice, neat way to do it too. And if it's in the outboard tip where it should be, well, obviously, yeah, look at that again. Obviously, the tip, it just takes the place of tip weight. An excellent idea. Okay, and obviously that's what it looks like on the out. You'd want to have it on the outboard tip anyway. Anyway, good idea. I'm definitely going to pass this all on to Stunt News. Hope they can use it. Last step, and we are at the end of this tape. The last step we're going to do is cut out the horse patterns. We've already done this on a previous video, but Mike's daughter rides horses, so we're going to try to incorporate some horses into this. Okay, that one's too big. Use the next size smaller. Now we're at the end of the tape, and we're just going to cut horse patterns the rest of the day and wait for the rain to stop. And we join Mike. He'll be installing horses on his plane. Hey, thanks for joining us. Share the tapes. We'll see you on the next tape.